Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the Wednesday, December 17th, 2014 episode of Free Webinar Wednesdays. This is Eric Cook, and I'm with WSI Internet Consulting, where we work with businesses and organizations on helping them better understand and leverage the power of the Internet as a strategic business tool. You can learn more about me and WSI online at www.poweredbywsi.com. This is also the final show of 2014, so we hope everybody enjoys the upcoming holiday New Year's, and we'll be back in 2015. Doing a little bit of a stall game here because my good friend and Free Webinar Wednesday partner, Mr. Jeff Simpkins, is having some technical difficulties with his internet connectivity today. So Jeff, are you on the line and able to hear us yet? I don't think so. So Jeff will say hello as soon as he gets connected. Hey, Jeff's here. Jeff, welcome. Welcome to Free Webinar Wednesdays. How's those technology gremlins working for you?
You know, it's a sign that you've got a bad internet connection when you have to turn off the Wi-Fi on your machine and use the internet on your cell phone.
Nice. So we're tethered today. So we'll yeah, funny. Yeah, I don't know if there's something with sunspots or moon spots or what, but knock on wood, or as my Canadian friends say, touch wood. Hopefully this isn't a sign of things to come, because we certainly are reliant somewhat on internet connectivity to make sure that the show goes as smoothly as possible. So with that rather long-winded introduction, drag out, hope Jeff makes it, and the internet allows him to join us. Jeff, would you like to say hello to everybody out there in the Free Webinar Wednesday world today?
I would. Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you're joining us from. I am Jeff Simpkins, and I'm with Community Bank Consulting, Inc., and you can learn more about me and Community Bank Consulting, Inc. online at www.communitybankconsulting.com. And Eric, I was supposed to be traveling last week, but ended up delaying that trip, so I am joining today from lovely Kentucky.
The
so it's
not
state.
Internet connectivity at the office, it's remote internet connectivity.
At a client site, and I was kind enough to go in and find the United States phone number, because I bet they don't call Canada for free from here.
Yeah, probably not. So yeah, well, we're glad that you joined us today, because I know you and I were both really looking forward to this show and welcoming Greg back. But before we officially introduce Greg, we'll do our traditional housekeeping items. Just as a reminder to everybody, today's show and all shows are recorded at freewebinarwednesdays.com and made available. Although I will provide a little bit of a caveat. The show we had 2 weeks ago on kind of digital trends for 2015 had a little bit of a technical to manually redo the screen capture and overlay the audio so that it makes sense, because it only got like the top 1/3 left-hand corner of the screen, so it's kind of hard to see the slides when you can only see a portion of it. So working on trying to get that done, and I'm learning some new things with regards to video and sound editing that I don't normally do. So it's been a little bit longer than anticipated. Hopefully today's show will go off without a hitch and we won't have any problems, but certainly that threw me a little bit of a curveball. And secondly, we do appreciate and encourage and look forward to comments, and we can see our good friend John has already said he's glad to see other people have technological problems, and it's not just him. So if you'd like to ask a question or make a comment, or today's show is all about gadgets and gizmos that are going to hopefully make it on Santa's list, if you've got something that you think is really cool that you'd like to share, by all means type it in the chat box, and we'll keep an eye out for that, and we'd love to throw your ideas and suggestions up on the screen for everybody else to benefit from. So with that out of the way, it's my pleasure to welcome back one of our preeminent favorites, Mr. Gregory McPherson, a good friend of mine and classmate from here in Marshall, Michigan. And Greg, I refer to you as Mr. Gadget because you seem to have the finger on the pulse for all the cool things that are new and technologically desirable. And Jeff and I say it once, we say it 100 times. Whenever you're on the show, we always end up spending money, even when you did that show on free apps that are cool. I think both of us ended up figuring out some way that we could still spend money on a free app. So kudos to you. Hopefully you got some sort of a commission off of that.
It's a very generous introduction. Hopefully I've got a few things that might spark your interest.
Yeah. So, this is our Gadget and Gizmos guide. I said this is the last show that we're going to have for 2014. Maybe just to set the stage, maybe big picture, or maybe you're going to talk about some of this. I think one of the things that we've seen, at least I have noticed in 2014, is this seems to be the emergence, and maybe 15 will be even more of that, but the year of the wearable device with watches and fitness tracker bands and heart rate monitors, and I've got some of those that are on my list to talk about as well. I don't know if there's like an overall theme that you recognized as you kind of keep an eye on gadgets and other sorts of technology things that have come into play this year, but any observations from a big picture perspective you want to share, Greg?
Absolutely. I think 2014 was kind of maybe the introduction of some of the more sophisticated wearables. The Apple Watch is supposedly going to, make an appearance finally in 2015. I know that there's a lot of different sports, bands out there, activity trackers, and so forth. I do have a wearable that I'll go into when we kind of start talking about different items. It's a little bit different than what we've been talking about in the past. But I do think it's going to be 2015, 16, 17, before we really see any maturity in these items to where they're going to be, quote unquote game changers. Like the original iPhone, it certainly was a game changer. It drew everybody's attention. They were expensive products. A small portion of people participated, and it grew into a much larger market and demand. I think that's going to be the same thing with the wearables. Everybody's kind of taking their shot at it, putting their slant on it, hoping that their approach is going to be the one that the consumer embraces. Time will tell. Apple's got kind of a unique feature there with what they're trying to do. Don't want to spend a lot of time on my thoughts on that. I'm a huge Apple guy. I'm not quite sure about, what I've seen so far of the Apple Watch, but that's probably for a different show maybe.
Yeah, cool. Jeff, what about your thoughts? Have you kind of seen any trends that are maybe worth noting as it relates to this topic for the year?
Well, the wearables do seem to be up and coming. It will be interesting to see where things land. I think the three of us that are hosting the call today have made reference to before, and will again, our warehouse of electronics that we thought would change our lives, and we used them for a period of time, and man, I wish I could cash in that tub of old electronics that just didn't change my life the way that I thought they would. So it feels very transitional, and I'm very eager to find out, 24 months from now, 18 months from now, what the wearable devices, the ones that survive and go on to mature.
Yeah. Funny that you say technology cleanout. I emptied my closet probably a month ago. I had just boxes and boxes of old technology, and I found my old Palm 5, the little kind of brushed chrome handheld device that you used to input with a stylus and the graffiti writing. And that was like the coolest thing ever. And nobody would have thought, wow, wouldn't this be cool if this could actually make a phone call, and didn't even think of it taking a picture. And now I've got a device that's even smaller than that has more storage capacity and memory than the original file server that I bought for the bank back in the mid-90s when we went and networked with Novell. So, as good as we try to be prognosticators of what exactly is going to happen, I think sometimes technology just surprises us. And like Greg said, the iPhone came out of nowhere and nobody was asking for a device like that. It just showed up, and change the way that we use these things. So, like you said, we roll the dice, we buy stuff. Sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. But that's what
I've allowed myself to have this fantasy for this period of time that, you know, I actually took those old devices somewhere and traded them for money. And, I've finally let go of that, and where I take them now is the electronics recycling center.
Yeah, exactly. So cool. Well, let's go ahead and get started. I know Greg and I were chatting a little bit before you were able to join us, and I think he's got a dozen or so little items, and I'm going to try to type fast and visit some websites. I've got a few things that I've pulled up myself that I'd like to share, and we're just going to kind of visit sites, and then with all luck, we'll hopefully the recording will work the way that it's supposed to, and you'll have a nice shopping list that you can go back and send to a spouse or loved one and say, just watch this video and buy me most of the stuff that they talk about. And, you know, that could be your Christmas list to Santa Claus. So with that, Greg, let's go ahead and start banging on your list. What's at the top of your list that we want to talk about?
Okay. Well, first of all, you know, when we talked about doing this, you said kind of just a general cool gadget list. And so my theme on this is kind of tech/business/travel. So I've got some items that range, you know, as cheap as $25 and as much as $1,500. So we'll
nice.
They're in no particular order, but I do think that most of them are probably a bit newer that, you know, people aren't familiar with. The first one I'm going to start with is actually for those people who kind of the weekend warrior that have to travel for, you know, 2 or 3 day trips, and, you know, a way to make that a little bit more convenient is with boy, this sounds like I'm like on, you know, Home Shopping Network, is with the Rise duffel bag, R-I-S-E duffel bag. And what this is it's a duffel bag with shelving built into it, Rise gear. You hang it in your closet, set all the items in it as you would. The rest of the unit drops down, and you don't have to unpack any of the items. You can, you know, use them as you go, and then, you know, again, you don't have to unpack, you know, for the 2 or 3 days or the night that you're in town. When you get all done, you know, you drop the shelving right back into the bag, and, you know, you can throw your dirty clothes in the balance and, you know, in the actual bag itself, and off you go. It's really slick. You can pack, you know, the same amount of material that you would normally be able to pack, but normally people are, you know, jamming socks in corners and trying to maximize, you know, how to get, you know, things into a bag most efficiently. This is pretty well reviewed. It's got a lot of, you know, positive reports on it. I have not picked this up, but it is something that I'll probably pick up in the next year, and I think it's pretty slick.
Wow. Yeah, as somebody that spends a few nights in a hotel, this is pretty cool.
The price on this is on the starting side of just a small, you know, duffel bag. I think it's $99, and then the roller. There you go. The roller bag is $200. So it's not that's not terribly bad. And
that's
again,
cheap for luggage.
Absolutely. And I think that the convenience it has to be able to hold all this stuff in. Everything's nice and, you know, organized. It's, you know, well constructed. You know, again, you get done, you unhook it from the bar, everything drops back down to the bag, and, you know, off you go. So if you're not going to be staying for any place, you know, for more than a night or two, rather than having to unpack everything, pack it, repack it, you know, this allows you to go ahead, pull the items off the shelf, throw the dirty stuff down in the actual duffel, use what you're going to use, push everything back down and collapse it, and, you know, you're off the next day. So I think it's a nice little innovation on an existing, you know, an existing device, and I think it can be convenient if you know, this is your kind of lifestyle, traveling and so forth.
Very cool.
I wrote this one down.
Yep. I'm like, okay. Yeah, I've got a roller bag that the rollers aren't necessarily rolling as well as they used to, so certainly a nice alternative to the traditional Samsonite. So very sweet. Good. All right, you're 1 for 1. What's next on your list? I'm salivating over here.
Okay, this is something that's a little bit more affordable. It's very slick. There's 1,000 different ways to do this. This is the one that I found is the most convenient. It is the Canoe, and it's KENU airframe mount, and it's for your cell phone. We've all had a situation where you're in your car and you're trying to figure out a way to mount your phone in a way that you can use GPS, but yet, suction cups ultimately don't hold. You don't want to use any kind of a sticky residue on a dashboard, and it's difficult to find the proper way to mount something that's, sturdy and yet, doesn't do any kind of a long-term damage to your vehicle. What this does is it has a little 4-prong connect, and it basically drafts the air duct in your vehicle, and the jaws open accordingly to fit any phone, whether it's an Android or an iPhone and so forth. I think it's reasonably priced around $25, and it's a really simple, elegant solution to, a problem that, I've had. I've tried many different things to mount my phone, and if you don't like the way it sits, if the sun comes in your window at a different angle, all you have to do is just, pull it out of the air vent, move it a little bit, and the device actually rotates as well, so you can't spin it. Anyway, it's very sharp. It's relatively cheap comparatively to other items, and if you're looking for a stocking stuffer or a quick gift, that's not a bad item at all.
Sweet. I want to make sure everybody doesn't tell my brother. If anybody knows my brother, don't tell him.
Why don't I just look? These are available on Amazon as well with Prime shipping.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So, cool. All right, you're 2 for 2. I would give that a thumbs up. What do you think, Jeff?
Looks good to me.
Yeah. My wife had one years ago when she was doing a lot of traveling and sales, and she had something similar to this. And the clip on the back end, once it got connected to your air duct or whatever it's called, your air vent, it wouldn't let go. And you almost had to break the thing in order to get it off. This looks like it's got just kind of more of a soft, easy
Not
in
at all.
out. Yeah. So
it's
that's pretty cool.
It's 4 little wedges, and it just slides right on. There's no,
clip
it just
or
slides on. Yeah,
lift to it.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. Sweet.
Does no damage at all to the vehicle at all.
Good deal. Cool. All right. Well, before I make you go 3 in a row, Jeff, do you have any little gadget or gizmo you'd like to share? I got a couple lined up. We can interject here.
Well, mine are actually all things that Greg has talked to us about before that are still on my list, but I think they're cool enough things that they're worth sharing again. I actually texted him a month or 2 ago. I am still about to purchase a scanner, and probably my next purchase under gadgets and gifts is the Fujitsu ScanSnap IX500.
It's very slick.
And he recommended this one to me because I'm primarily looking to do paper that is not a photo. It's fast, it's got a small footprint, and this particular model is PC and Mac friendly.
Very cool.
Greg, I think you have one of these devices, so you can comment further.
I can't speak highly enough about it. There's things that it does that you're probably not going to be able to read right there, in the fine print. But you can download an app on your phone, your iPad, and it hops on the Wi-Fi. It sees this device there. You can stick the paper in this unit and hit the app button on your your app. Hit the scan button on the app, and it will actually scan the document straight into your phone. So, it doesn't have to go to a computer and then to your phone or to a Dropbox. It's excellent. If you're scanning documents, and you need to scan 20, 30 documents and two-sided and so forth, and you want to do it quickly and efficiently, this is the best printer, breath scanner. If you're looking for photos or something like that, then maybe, this isn't as flexible as what you might want. But if you're looking to scan quickly, two-sided documents and so forth, this goes through. A lot of times you'll see, multiple pages, go through at once. This has never happened to me a single time. I've scanned multiple size documents. It always sorts them out very well. That's an excellent product.
Yeah. I would imagine, Jeff, this is probably on your list from like when you travel and receipts and other sorts of things to get back. I know that's one of the challenges that I always run into is you've got food receipts, gas receipts, invoices, hotel receipts, and you've got to get all that stuff. Right now we're gimping along with a flatbed scanner. I actually downloaded a free app on my device, my mobile phone called Genius Scan, which will, I take a picture, converts it, then I email it to myself. A little cumbersome, but yeah, this looks pretty sweet.
Well, this year I went whole in for Google Drive. I had been using Box, and I just, Box is great. I love a lot of the features of Box, but I just can't justify how much they charge for it.
Right.
Earlier in the year, I said I'm going with the Google Drive. I went with the plan of Google for Work that I get unlimited storage. I have a 5-drawer lateral file that I had 4 drawers full in my office, and God, it was painful, but 3 of those drawers I scanned with a flatbed scanner, and I want to be mobile. So I've got 1 more drawer left on the flatbed scan or on the lateral file. And I reached a point, that's when I reached out to Greg and said, you got to give me a better scanner. I can't use the flatbed anymore.
Yeah.
So receipts is going to be an added bonus. I've changed the way I'm handling receipts. I've never found a solution that I like for holding on to the receipts and having them scanned after the fact. So I use a service called Shoebox. That's a great service. But this week I'm sort of doing a beta test of, I've set up a folder on Google Drive. When I incur an expense, I snap a photo of the receipt with my iPhone. It uploads to that Google Drive folder, and either I or my bookkeeper enters the information in QuickBooks within a day or so. So we'll talk about that on a future show.
Yeah, very cool. Good.
Okay. Your turn, Eric.
My turn. Well, I've got one that is more personal in nature. A lot of you may know I am a, what's that?
Fine washables?
Yeah, fine washables. Yeah, we're going to talk about underwear. I'll give you my recommendation for skivvies, as my grandma calls them, skivvies. No, I love to ride my bike, and all the bikes that I own have got these clipless pedals, which are great if you're wearing the right shoe where you can clip in, but sometimes you just want to hop on the bike and tool around a little bit. And the mountain bike that I bought, the pedals came with like a little plastic clip-in adapter that was okay, but it wasn't great. And if you don't have a big platform for your feet to sit on, it actually becomes a little bit painful because you've got a hot spot there and you're not using cycling shoes. This is and I'm hoping this is going to be in my stocking this year. If not, I'm going to go buy them myself. But I'm resisting the urge because it's actually something that somebody can buy me, and it's not $1,500. But these are some pedal adapters, and if anybody out there is a cyclist and you have, mountain bike pedals, road pedals, anything that requires a special cleat, and you want to just throw on a pair of flip-flops or casual shoes, you can apply your actual clip to this metal aluminum platform and clip it right on, and you've got regular pedals on your bike. So I know a lot of my cycling geek friends are interested in something like this, but it makes it nice, and even to the extent that you can toss these in a jersey pocket, and when you get to the coffee shop, if you just want to take your shoes off and bum around in your stocking feet, you can go ahead and do that too. So it doesn't have anything to do with business. There's no productivity gain here that you're going to make money on, but if you're a cyclist, this is one of the little items that might make it into your stocking stuffer. So
I think
little
it's a
bit
good
niche
business productivity tool, because doing things like biking, I think, makes you much more productive in business ultimately.
Yeah. So, well, and I guess, continuing, I've got one more workout related item that I'm actually looking at as well that I'll share as long as I'm on a roll, and then we'll pass the baton over to Greg. But this is a pair of Bluetooth sport headphones, and they wrap around your ear. They've got some capability to loosen or tighten up the cord. You can make phone calls on it, but basically it's two little ends with a cord and some control knobs, and gives you the ability to tighten it up so if you're running, it doesn't bounce around on your neck. You don't have to worry about cords. If you're in the gym and you're lifting weights, you don't have to worry about snagging a cord while you're doing curls, or if you're running on the treadmill or exercise bike or whatever. And you can even just place your phone someplace in the gym and then walk around and let Bluetooth just grab the signal from wherever you're at. So these are about $140, so they're not cheap. But I've got this on my list. They have a Facebook page, and they keep saying if you provide some sort of a story or a response, they keep running contests, and they're giving away a free pair of Blue Buds, and I keep putting my story on their wall, but I never win. So if Santa doesn't bring these for me, this is probably going to be the destination for some of my grandma money this year.
Very cool.
Yeah. So they also have a fitness bracelet that they're promoting as well, and I know we'll probably end up talking a little bit about those, but this seems to be one of the better pairs of Bluetooth wireless headphones that work a variety of different ways. So
very cool.
There's my two. Greg, back to you, sir.
Okay. Well, I'm kind of looking at my list here, trying to stay somewhat in theme. This is going to be my high-end list. You said just a few seconds ago that someone didn't have to spend $1,500 on you. But if they did want to, Eric, have I got an item for you? This is it's a little off the cuff, but it is. I actually have one of these things, and it's the coolest thing I've bought, and I don't know how long. It is the and this is basically, there you go. It is kind of the high caliber drone, and it can be used for photography, for video. The video quality, you have to see it to believe it. I mean, it looks cinematic, like it was straight out of Hollywood. The system has a lot of technology that I'm not going to bother talking to you about. There's image stabilization. The camera that comes with it hangs on a gimbal below and also uses software. So when you're watching these, images, they're as steady as if they were locked onto a tripod. As you guys know, my business is real estate, so I sell, niche properties. I sell, acreage farms, hunting grounds, higher-end properties. And this year I sold a 400-acre farm, and I was trying to figure out, how can I get a new approach to providing some marketing to this that maybe, would just give a fresh look to it. So I went ahead and I saw this, and let's face it, that just basically gave me a reason to buy this product.
And write it off.
Exactly right. And I was not disappointed. I'm not going to spend a lot of time because we want to hit multiple items on this, but the technology in this thing is you're looking at right there with that ground station support. You can literally use your phone, take your finger, touch the points where you want this to fly, the route. You hit a go button, and this thing goes on automatic pilot and will fly those routes and then come right back and land within 3 meters of where it left. There's a lot of also safety features that are built in so that if the battery starts to go dead or you lose it, it'll actually come back to the point of origin. So you don't, necessarily, if something goes wrong, you're not necessarily out $1,500 because you're not a great pilot. So if you're a novice, this is fantastic. If you're an experienced person who flies these types of things, it's fantastic. Again, I could talk about this for the rest of the show, but in the interest of trying to get a few more items, if this is anything at all that is of interest to you, this is the brand. This is what you need to own if you're prepared to spend this kind of money for this type of hobby or technology.
Damn, I'm gonna have to spend $1,500 now.
I will Grandma, tell you this. You need extra money this Christmas.
If you saw the video from it, and they can show you videos on the page there. But the reason I kind of got pulled into this is I was on Facebook at one point and I saw a video that somebody else had posted, and it was just of a neighborhood, and the video was so perfect and so pristine. That's where I automatically thought of this property that I was marketing, and I thought, you know what? I know that people can see these images via Google Earth and so forth, but just be able to do, an aerial at 250 feet, whatever, and show parcels as they set and so forth. I thought it was a unique perspective to offer. So very slick, very happy with the purchase.
That's awesome.
So you have multiple opportunities, I see. I'm on the website and I'm looking at the Inspire one with dual remotes, and that one you can grab for $3,399.
Yep. And that's
nice.
That's a brand new product that was just announced maybe 30 days ago.
Wow. Look. Yeah, that is pretty cool. Not nearly as impressive as that, but I did buy myself like a $30 remote control helicopter with red and blue flashing lights that I can fly around the house and terrorize my dogs with.
There you go. That's fun too.
Luckily it's small enough where when it crashes it doesn't do much damage, but this definitely is an outdoor this would be an outdoor element. Yeah, that's hilarious.
You can't terrorize my dogs with that when you come to my house. My chocolate lab he couldn't take it.
Very cool. Yeah, drones certainly are becoming a pretty interesting hobby sport. Something like this, especially when you got a nice cool business need for it, there's some pretty cool capabilities. So sweet. There. Is that the only big ticket item you have to share? Because I don't know if my checkbook can take any more of these.
Yeah, that's the best of it. You mean to offset it with a cheaper item?
Yeah, let's go ahead and we'll do a low cost alternative now. And then we've actually got, I'm waiting for a little bit of clarification, but we had one of our audience members share something, so we'll bring that up next. But what's your next item?
This is actually going to be the strangest item that I'm going to suggest, but all I'm going to say is I'm going to endorse it, and you guys can just take it from there. But the next item this is probably my favorite item on this list, is Breathe, BREATHE, performance bedding. And what this is are their sheets, and they are the best sheets that you will never buy another sheet in your life. You're going to say, well, what's the thread count and so forth? There is no thread count. It's a special material. It's silky. It's the softest sheets you will ever or have ever experienced. And I know that sounds crazy, but I remember one time, I slept in a bed that had these on them, and immediately, that was my mission to find out what they were. I went, and ironically enough, the best place to buy them is Walmart online, and you can buy them for $60 at Walmart. But if you were to go online and search over the net, you'll see them sometimes being sold for $130, $150. You can buy it at Walmart for $60, and that's, I think, I'm not sure what size that is. It might be the smaller size. But again, I know it sounds like an odd thing, but I think that's actually the queen size, if I remember correctly. But this is the kind of gift, if you have a need to give it to somebody, I guarantee you that they will just say, where did you come up with this? This is a game changer. It's that good.
Wow. not anywhere close to the $60, and we I think have like one set of them. But one of the things we got exposed to along those lines, we were on a cruise, and if you've ever been on a cruise, chances are you've been to a port of call, and they've had a Carrie Loha bamboo clothing store there, and they do bamboo sheets and towels. You can see that it's a little bit more expensive than the Breathe. So, the bamboo property sounds very similar to what the Breathe is, but I definitely like the price point of what you've shared much, much better. So the bamboo is a similar feel. Once you go in a sheet like that, you don't want to go back. And but for 200 and some bucks versus 60 or so, I think we might be visiting Walmart.
Well, clearly
again,
the Breathe sheets are popular because they're sold out, except you can get one color queen size and one color standard size. No king.
And that's very
Christmas.
typical. You have to watch the site because they sell out so quickly. And I don't think that you can, if you do go to a local Walmart, very rarely do they have them in stock. But again, you guys have been on the show more times than I can remember. And, this is a product that I'm telling you, I mean, it would, if you said, Greg, give me 5 items, tech related or otherwise, this would be on the top five items.
Very cool. Very, very cool.
I'm writing this one down. It looks like the Kings must be $70.
There you go.
Yeah. Sweet. Do they make underwear? I'm just asking.
They should.
Because I do know the Carrie Loha, they do make bamboo underwear, so very
Something
cool.
about bamboo underwear sounds like torture.
It does, but I happen to. Well, it's probably a little TMI for our free webinar Wednesday fans, so we'll just kind of stop right there. But yeah, so we don't want to go down that rabbit hole too deep. So very cool. Well, one of our listeners, actually from Italy, has submitted a request and has commented that, so far, although I would suspect now that we've shared the sheets, it's probably not total guy stuff, but we've talked about cell phone adapters and scanners and pedals and drones and all sorts of stuff. His business has actually gone to this Susie's Yard, which is an organic farm that produces all sorts of really cool stuff. There's a lot of these companies that are kind of coming up. I think like Health Box is one, and alternative snacks. So instead of grabbing a bag of Doritos, you can go in and order a box, and they send you all these, dried nuts and fruits and berries and healthy organic produced things. I'll just read some of what he shared. Let me see. You can get a bottle of extra virgin olive oil, raw form of honey from Very Happy Bees, a jar of summer tomato pasta sauce, bottle of Merlot. So this looks like kind of a nice little gift basket idea. The problem that we have here, John, is all of the language is not written in English, so I unfortunately can't read a lot of what is being said, but it looks like a pretty cool option when you're thinking of just unique gifts. And if there's opportunities to support your local agriculture or farmers market, a lot of the stuff that we're talking about is all online purchase, but there's certainly something to be said for supporting your local economy if you can do that. So thank you for sharing that, sir. Jeff, what's next on your list?
Oh, let's let Greg go. I like listening to his stuff better.
There we go.
So you can see the floor. Give me the senator from Kentucky. Gives me his time.
Yep. Exactly.
Ironically enough, you were talking about items for women. And this is a little bit premature for me to be able to say, hey, this is the thing. But if you do read the marketing about it and the technology behind it, and so far the general press, it seems to be favorable. And so I think it's interesting enough that it's probably worth mentioning here, especially for women who travel, who are maybe by themselves and, security conscious and so forth. There's a new product that has not yet shipped, and it's called Stiletto. And the site for it is stiletto.is. And what it is, and this is what we were talking about earlier in the show, is they're calling it personal wearable security. And the concept behind it is it's, I guess, security that takes the shape of like a jewelry and so forth. That's it right there. And the difference between this and everything else is it's a one-touch item. You can wear it on a necklace or on a bracelet and so forth. And what it allows you to do is if you're walking in a garage and you're concerned about your safety, you simply hit this one button on the device, which looks like a gem, and it alerts, people that you've put on an emergency list. It'll call 911 on your behalf. It will, do a GPS lock of your location. It will start recording high-def audio. And so ideally, if something were to happen to you or did happen to you, as much information as possible would be transmitted to the people, that are in your life, authorities and otherwise. So it's a very slick item. Again, the reviews on it that, the beta testing and so forth have seemed to be favorable. It seems to be relatively affordable for the features that it offers at $180. But again, if you have a daughter or somebody that, you want to maybe, throw an extra little security around, this seems to be an item that is fashionable and certainly has a lot of function as well. So the thing that was interesting to me is as we all know, GPS and so forth is only usually good with regards to, line of sight, meaning you're outside and, sometimes, you have good GPS contact and so sometimes you don't. This item also ties into Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and so supposedly it can even track you inside of a building based on, catching Wi-Fi and using that. Again, I don't know. I like what I see. At this point, obviously, they're marketing it to a woman, but, obviously I could think that it would even have value for, anyone, that just had concerns, traveling alone. But very, very slick idea. It seems to be executed well in theory. It has not hit the market yet, so it's hard to rave about it a bit too much. But if you're a woman that travels or your wife or somebody important to you travels and, you'd like to offer them a bit more security, this might be a really fantastic device, and it certainly seems like $180 to offer that kind of peace of mind would be a good value.
Greg, wow. Will there be a subscription associated with this?
I'm curious, and if Eric were to fan down a little bit more at the bottom, it shows you, what it is comparable to other services and so forth. And my understanding, if I'm reading this correctly, is I think initially it's free. There's a 6-month or a year trial for it, but then there's an annual fee past that. But again, let's say it's a $50 or $100, for that kind of, if it does what it says it does. I mean, I don't know. I really, this is something that to me, like we were talking earlier about the Apple iWatch and so forth, that's fantastic. I guess I understand, it's going to provide another dimension to those types of items. But this is something that, if it's just complete security based, it's not a jack of all trades, it's good at one thing, and when obviously it's security, that's all you want. You want something that focuses on that alone. So
I found it on their website. Their base service package is free, and then they've got a premium upgrade that they're including for the pre-orders, that it says it's free for 6 months, valued at $60. So premium service is $120 a year.
Okay, so for $120 a year, you've got their extended package?
Correct.
Is that correct?
Correct.
I mean,
yeah.
Again, if you've got a daughter or a wife or whatever, I don't know. I mean, that seems like an amazing value if it does half of what it says it does. And again, if this is something of interest, footnote this, go back to it after the web seminar is over, and watch the little promotional video. It gives you an idea of the range of the services that it provides. Basically, it isn't a situation where you hit it and you start talking, hey, I need 911, please help me. Basically, it calls automatically. You hit the button, and it automatically calls 911. It says, the person is in distress at this location. They need assistance. There's a recording that does all of this. So, it allows you to, kind of just be in the moment, take care of the situation. And if things were to escalate into a bad situation, you've got, people aware, and hopefully, in a relatively quick time period, you have some assistance. And again, also you can hit the button again and it cancels. It says, that it was a mistake, or that the person's okay, that assistance is no longer required. So I don't know. Again, if the technology is realized in the way that they're actually marketing it, it seems like a tremendous value for the initial price of what is it, $180, and then if it costs you the same every year, that would be a pretty good value in my mind. Yeah.
Kind of takes the whole concept of that I've fallen and I can't get up, the medic alert, and moves that really to the next level.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's got a good look. It's fashionable. It's chic. So it's not some app, on your phone. You have to fiddle out of your, you don't have to grab your phone and, hit something. It's, if you were to wear it on your keychain or on your neck or, on your bracelet, it's something that nobody would even realize that you've, called for help. So anyway,
yep.
Interesting.
Yeah. Very cool. All right. Well, see there. Now we got something for the ladies on the show. So good deal. You got another one? I agree with Jeff. I maybe have one more that it already made my list, and I've been really happy with it, but I want to share it. But I'll defer to you, Greg, since you don't get to be here that often. So what's next?
All right. I'll tell you what. I've got 3 items that I'm just going to hit quickly. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on them because I think people are kind of generally aware of them, but they're just some general quick suggestions. Roomba. Everybody's heard of the Roomba. It's the little sweeper that travels around your house, little robot, cleans. There's been multiple versions of it. They're now at the 880 series. They are finally getting it right. In the past, these little vacuums would get lost, or they didn't clean particularly well, or the dustbin would fill up, or the battery would die, or any multiple variation of all those items might happen. These new 880s do an excellent job. They cover the ground thoroughly. They clean just the tiniest of dust and so forth, and they never get lost. They never get stuck on things. If you've ever thought about maybe looking into this, but you're always a little leery on the actual technology, they are finally have it to a place where it's something you could consider. It's definitely a little bit expensive. This particular 880 model is $700. So it is an expensive item. The other thing I could suggest to you, though, is if you go to Amazon and so forth, it's still pretty expensive. If you do go to Bed Bath & Beyond, they always have a 20% off coupon that you can get very easily. You can sign up for a text message, and they will send it to you almost easily or almost immediately. And so you can get 20% off this item, and it's definitely the way to buy that item if you're looking to buy it. And again, even if you pay the full dollar for it, $700, and then you get the coupon in the aftermath, you can take the receipt back in with the coupon, and they will refund you the difference. So again, the 880 at Bed Bath & Beyond, make sure you take advantage of the 20% off coupon, save you a significant amount of money on that item. The 2 other items, and these are just quick stocking stuffers. If you have somebody that has like a pen fetish in your life, and it's kind of old school, the Namkimi fountain pen is Namkimi fountain pen, and you can get this on Amazon and other places, and it runs about $150. but it is, as a lot of people know, you can spend, ridiculous amounts of money on a pen, and some would argue that $150 isn't a ridiculous amount. But if you have somebody that particularly likes the way, a pen flows, this is one of the highest rated pens at a reasonable cost. Those particular pens are probably more expensive, but you can get the lower end versions on Amazon for, like I said, $150. And if you like a nice easy flow through the ink, I would suggest the medium nub. It isn't as tight and it writes very, very well. And then finally, last item, if you have like an Apple enthusiast in your life and they are interested in fashion or something, I would suggest the Braun Classics watches. And these are items that were designed back in the 70s by Dieter Rams. And anybody who kind of knows Apple and the engineering behind it knows that Dieter Rams heavily influenced Johnny Ives with regard to the iPod, the iMac. You can actually find pictures that compare these two items, the iPod versus the old Braun radio, the old TV from Braun in the 70s to the iMac design. So a lot of the influence, for the current design of Apple products comes directly from Dieter Rams, who designed these watches. So if you have somebody who really loves the clean, simplistic look, this is an item that would appeal to probably an Apple user, a Mac user, and Dieter Rams is famous for the expression "less but more" or less design. He would just wanted to have the essentials there. So this is a pretty slick watch for somebody who still likes to wear a watch, and it does definitely have kind of an Apple feel to it with the simplicity and design. And that runs, depending on the watch, anywhere from $250 to $350. And again, the watches that I'm talking about specifically are the classic watches, as opposed to the. So that's it. That's cool. My shopping list for the show.
That's your list.
Reasonable price for a nice watch. Very reasonable.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I actually have one of those, and every time I wear it, people stop me and ask me what it is, and they like it, and ask me how much it is, and it's just a sharp, clean watch.
Very cool. Jeffrey.
Yes, sir.
Do you have something that you would like to share before we bring this home?
Well, I'll share my list of things that I wrote down.
Yep.
Number one item at the top of my list would be the Rise duffel bag.
Yeah.
Number two would be the Breathe bedding sheets. I'm going to try that for sure. And then two other things I wrote down, the Roomba. Unlike you, Greg, I bought one of those early on, and it just sucked. It just got stuck.
I had
moved the dog fur from one place to another.
No, this does a fantastic job with animal fur. It pulls it right up. I do own one of those.
Yeah, and then I enjoy a nice fountain pen, although I don't. I display them more than I use them now. But I wrote the fountain pen down.
Yeah.
What about you, Eric? What did you put on your list of things to further consider?
I'm afraid to say that drone aerial thing.
That's number one, isn't it?
Yeah, don't tell my wife, but I'm just kind of a gadget guy, and the whole concept. I know in my heart of hearts, I probably will never have an opportunity to get a pilot's license and get behind the wheel, as it were, of a real plane and take off. But there's something about the concept of being behind the virtual wheel of a plane or a drone where you can fly around and see what's going on, and that's probably as close as I'm going to get, aside from maybe enjoying a little bit of that on an Xbox video game console system. So I don't know if I'll be able to pull the trigger on that, but that certainly was the one that intrigued me the most because, buying this little helicopter and just flying that around has been kind of a fun little thing to do. A good way to break away from reality for a little bit. So I don't know if I could cost justify that, but if I win the lottery and money's not an object and I decide to drop $1,500 or more on a cool tool, I think that probably is going to hit it.
Well, the one thing I don't know that I mentioned, whenever this thing does fly above you, because I just want to make sure that you do buy this, is it does beam the video back down on your phone. So in other words,
I know it does.
Okay, I just want to make sure though. I mean, as long as you stay within range, you can actually look down and see yourself flying this thing. So Eric, I think you should definitely buy this.
So I'm picturing Eric on a bike ride with the drone overhead capturing an aerial view of the bike ride.
Yeah, I'm sure it could probably do that. It just, hover right behind me. I'd have my own little personal video, and, the way I would be able to sell that to myself was, I could create customized videos that would allow me to enjoy them while biking in the winter, and I wouldn't have to buy the videos for cycling, have to do an awful lot of video before I justify that. But
by the way,
that was pretty cool.
I do think 2015, we're talking about the year of the wearables. I actually think it's going to be more of the year of the drones. I really do. I think it's going to be, you hear Amazon talking about, they're quote unquote looking to, ship stuff via drones. I think that's all, a little bit, fluff. But to what you just said, Eric, I saw a product where the drone actually, you wear it around your wrist and you're riding your bike or you're climbing a mountain or you're climbing a cliff and you hit the button and it snaps off of your hand. The propellers automatically go into motion and it flies behind you, 5-6 feet, and then basically takes video, selfies of, people during athletic, events, whether it's running and so forth, and it stays in proximity to you based on something on your person. So that's going to be a specific niche market.
Nice.
So I'm thinking it would be pretty easy to build a business case since you do websites with video. You certainly have clients that
I
need this, and you can resell the video.
Imagine all the banks that would need to have aerial videography around their office to show stuff. The other extreme
whatever it takes, Eric. Whatever it takes.
I know. The other extreme is probably the cheapest thing that you shared was this little, hands-free phone holder, and I've got one of those little sticky pads that's on my dash that I just set the phone on, but that's not really that great, and I'm using GPS and Google Maps and Waze, and rather than hanging on to it or balancing it on my thigh while I drive, I think this is probably going to end up at least in my list, if not maybe a few others that I know that have similar needs. So there's something affordable that I actually picked out. So this was good. So cool. Well, we've killed the hour as I suspected we would, and there were still a few things that I didn't get to, but I would say those can wait for another day because we got some good stuff here, and I'm going to tell my wife about the sheets and whether we continue to get bamboo or if we go with the new Breathe bedding, but yeah, some good stuff. So Greg, thanks for joining us again, and it didn't disappoint, and yes, I'm probably still going to spend money, but that's what I brought you for, or we brought you for.
It's always fun, guys. I appreciate it.
So cool. Well, as we said at the beginning, this is our last show of the year, so we want to wish everybody happy holidays, whether that's Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever else it is that you celebrate in your neck of the woods, and a happy new year, and we'll look forward to seeing everybody in 2015, kicking off another year of free webinar Wednesdays. So until then, don't eat too much, but if you do, just make sure you got your stretchy pants, and we'll get this up to freewebinarwednesdays.com here very shortly. And we'll see you online. Thanks, everybody.